What's going on, everybody? Today is Tuesday, February 10th, and I am going to be going over price action as well as the trades I took from yesterday and today. So, going over yesterday first, I usually hop on the charts at around 9 to 9:15 to try and get a feel for what I want to see price do, try and get a bias, and just get an overall plan heading into the day. I usually start on the daily time frame, see if we've taken out previous day higher, previous day low pre-market. And in yesterday's case, we had taken out previous day high. Normally that would mean that I'm looking for shorts, but I went down to the 4 hour and the 1 hour for a better picture. On the 4 hour, I noticed we had inversed a gap to the upside and we're currently rejecting off a 4 hour above. However, we did form some gaps on the way up and we were rejecting off those as well. I went down to the 1 hour, saw that we were extremely bullish. However, we were doing the same thing, rejecting off one to the upside and to the downside. And so the higher time frame bias was definitely hard to get. It was very conflicting. That led me down to the lower time frames here, which gave me a much better idea of kind of what I wanted to see happen. We had taken out nearly all of the sell side liquidity pre-market, that being the Asia low, the London low, the PM low, and the New York lunch low. Um, and we were already starting to make a move up. And so at this point, it's about 9:15, 9:20. I have a somewhat decent idea of what I want to see happen, that being potentially coming down here at open, sweeping this extreme external sell side liquidity, and then distributing up, potentially wanting to take out and tap the true day open, the London high, which was still intact, and the Asia high. Um, and so if I go down to the lower time frames here, we'll analyze what happened. So yeah, pretty much what I wanted to see happen arguably did right at open. We made a massive move down. And so basically, another term for what I wanted to see happening is called a Judas swing. That's where at open, we kind of manipulate in one direction to later distribute in the opposite direction. I know that's very broad, but if you're not familiar with what a Judas swing is, there's plenty of information out online and examples online of what that is. Um, so we came down, we took out that external sell side liquidity and created an SMT with ES at this low. Another great signal that longs would be the play here. Created a huge 1 minute fair value gap. And essentially, all I wanted to see for an entry was that get inversed at any point. Took us a second, but we eventually did. Um, my entry was right there in the candle closure above the gap, forming the IFEG. Obviously, prior to the play, I was kind of analyzing. All right, I had an idea of what my targets were going to be. We have this buy side up here, as well as all the other targets above. The BE was somewhat obvious, just these recent swing highs, most recent swing highs, a collection of them here. Um, and I believe there is some 5 minute gaps in here. I don't want to switch the time frame to give away the play, but yeah. So I entered there, um, and yeah, let's go ahead. So we came up. I went BE at that point, um, and we, in the matter of about 3 minutes, skyrocketed TP. I wanted my full TP to be this buy side here, but for whatever reason, I just took out at that point. We can go to the 5 minute now. So we did have a little 5 minute there. I don't know why I would have taken out there, but I don't know, potentially something to have to do with profits and consistency rules and whatnot. But um, yeah, so there was there was a 5 minute here and a 5 minute here. Those are obviously great targets too. If you were going for more of a scalp, you could have just targeted those, but obviously wanted to target the opposing liquidity, that being the buy side above. And yeah, in about 3 minutes, we skyrocketed, and I'll pull up my P&L for all the pocket watchers. So yesterday's profits would be here. My brother and I lost a trade Sunday night. The loss was about 200, and I obviously traded NQ yesterday morning, so that's why the P&L is low because um, after that loss, having won or having made 466, I obviously had to account for the loss and then whatever I made. So that's why you see 234 here. And then on my other account, it ended up being only 167 because I had slightly different fills. Um, so yeah, fantastic trade. I would have to rate that about an A plus on our scale and for our model. So yeah, let's zoom ahead to today. Um, so if we zoom out to the higher time frames here again, I hop on the charts anywhere from like 9 to 9:15. Firstly, looking to see if we um, took out the previous day higher, previous day low, pre-market. I'm obviously going to the higher time frames after that. We were extremely bullish again, inversed all the 4-hour gaps to the upside. Um, go to the 1 hour. Very similar story. Pretty much inversed all the 1 hours to the upside. We left a few up here, but nothing too scary. If we go to the 15-minute here, I mean, it wasn't completely obvious what the bias would be. I just kind of wanted to see the external liquidity get taken out in order to determine whether or not I was going to take longs or shorts. Obviously, if this PM high had gotten taken out, I would have looked short. If this Asian low had gotten taken out, I would have looked long. We were super range bound overnight, and so kind of classically looking for an AMD model here. Accumulation, potentially manipulate up or manipulate down and then just distribute in that direction. So yeah, pre-market, I was just looking for that. And we'll get on to the lower time frames here and skip ahead to market open. We were a little bit choppy to start, I'm not gonna lie. But we did make this massive move down and eventually take out the Asia low, which again was that external sell side liquidity. And I entered on this 1 minute here. One of our rules is if you're taking a lower time frame IFVG, which is formed right there. You mark that out. If you're gonna take a lower time frame IFVG, stop's got to be below the swing low. And luckily, here as you'll see, I kept a wide enough margin because the market reswept, which sometimes it wants to. Obviously, we took out the Asia low, which is that sell side, and sometimes we want to go back down and take out more liquidity. This was also, I want to mention, engineered liquidity since we had already created a swing low within a 1 hour FVG and a 4 hour FVG. So we reswept that liquidity, which is another great sign that we would continue long. So if I go back here, we resweep, we created SMTs with ES at both swing lows. And luckily we made a rebound here. Let me extend this out. Obviously went BE at like the most relevant and recent swing high, which is normally a point where we predict price could potentially reverse. So yeah, I go BE there. And this collection of wicks up here was just an insane obvious target. This is pretty much our buy side liquidity as well as the previous day high. I kind of had the TP slightly early again because of some just consistency rules with alpha, not wanting to make too much. Otherwise, I would have had it at the AM high or the previous day high. So I decided to just be a bit modest. Obviously, I was already break even. Price hit TP relatively quick. We did make that resweep and move down, but yeah, it kept going. I believe here we corrected a bit, and then yeah, it went and took out the previous day high. Just phenomenal trade. Same as yesterday's. I'd give this an A+ on our scale. And for all the pocket watchers, here was today's profits on one account, that being 443, and on the other 738. Yeah, so lovely PA to start the week. We also have CPI on Friday, and I feel like I can confidently say most CPI weeks, because of all the red folder before and after, usually brings pretty decent PA. So let's hope it continues for the remainder of the week. But yeah, that's it for us. So thanks, guys.